What's going on, everybody? Happy, leave it to me again not to know what day of the week it is. Thursday? Is that where we're at? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's been having a good week so far. Bright side, it's almost the weekend. One more work day left. I'm sure everybody's a little excited about that. I know I am. And good to be seeing you guys again. Now, I'm sure you've noticed recently, but I've been trying to get a lot more videos out versus just doing the live streams. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the mix up of content. They're usually a little bit shorter, so I'm able to kind of get them out a little faster. So on days where I don't have as much time, seems to be pretty convenient. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying that. But yeah. Let me go ahead and check on some of the comments here. We'll get right into it. Really what I wanted to talk about today, guys, is just the fact that we are sitting at support on Bitcoin and in the crypto market in general. And at this level that we sit at right now, I mean, it's kind of the moment of truth. Yet again, I know I released a video or had another live stream with this kind of theme a couple days ago. Don't forget to click that like button if you have not already. But yeah, we're kind of at a moment here. So let me go ahead and just share my screen. And I want to talk about what we got on the charts today. So, yes, you cannot see me at the moment. But if we take a look at the charts, what you can see is that Bitcoin is sitting here at about 20,000. Yes, 20,000. It's a little bit crazy because if we take a look at this, what we really saw, and I think this was actually expected up to a point, but now it's just getting a little concerning. And so that's why I just wanted to address it with everybody. Because if you know anything about trading, all right, and a lot of you guys may be investors and just not so much traders. So that's why when I do these streams, I try to include trader psychology, just so that everyone's on the same page. Real quick, what's up to Rick? What's going on to Daniel, Skydive? Thank you all for the support. Thank you for being members of the group. I appreciate y'all. Gilbert, what's going on? Checking in from San Diego with a little less change in my pockets. I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully we'll get that bread up very, very soon, very quickly. Yeah, good to see everybody. And what's going on, El Bash, and everybody else that's in this stream right now. Don't forget, first of all, click that like button, but please show your face. Feel free to drop a comment and say what's going on. Would love to hear from you guys tonight. So, why I wanted to go live. If you don't know a lot about trader psychology, this is going to be something that's important to keep in mind. Usually, anytime there's some sort of news event, so I'm talking about whether it's positive or negative. Whether it's positive or negative, there's going to be a reaction leading up to it, and there's going to be a reaction afterward. So as you're coming up to it, if it's a good announcement, people are going to start to get excited. There's going to be a whole lot of hype. Or as you're leading up to it, if it's a negative event, there's going to be a whole lot of negativity. But typically that reaction that happens leading up to that event is at some point going to be considered an overreaction. And once the news is out of the way, it's going to rubber band back in the other direction and correct a bit. So basically what I'm saying is the whole buy the rumor, sell the news concept. You buy into the rumor because that's where all the hype, positive or negative, is being generated. But then you sell the news because once it's over, everybody starts to revert and go back to normal. And so that's usually the peak, and it starts to go back in the other direction. So that being said, when you take a look at the charts here, we were not totally surprised that the price of Bitcoin went down this far. We were not totally surprised. We had the Fed meeting coming up. We knew that interest rates were probably going to be raised to a level that was not super ideal. And we were expecting something like 50, which is already aggressive, all the way up to 100 point basis point hike, which was already what we were expecting. So coming into this, obviously people started to sell the news, or sell the fear, sell into the fear, close their positions expecting bad things to happen. But then the event happened. Yeah, it was, aggressive 75 point basis hike. And because of that, we saw some selling off. But then once it was all over, everybody's like, okay, I guess it's over. Maybe it's not all that bad. And so people started to buy back in. And so we started to see the price start to go back up and correct a little bit. And so we got that bounce. And that bounce ended up being to about 23,000 here. So we went all the way from 20,000 at support up to 23,000 on Bitcoin, which is great. But if you watched my last video that I posted, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I cannot recall. What I talked about was what I expected to happen here. Because if you draw this level of support, which I'll do right now, if you just draw a support line somewhere in this area, that could be right at 20,000 or at this level here where we had some touches already. If people were not feeling super confident, even despite the news being over, what I said is that we could end up seeing a bit of a bounce, and then it end up being a dead bounce where we end up back at 20K, and then the final decision end up being made on whether or not we have enough bullish pressure to propel us out of this hole here, or if people are still panicked and still worried about the rest of the year enough, we could end up selling off some more, and this may not be the bottom. So that's where I sit right now, and that's where we all sit right now. We're looking at this 20K support level. We're seeing that we rejected 23. We're coming right back down to 20, and we came down with quite some vengeance here. So the question we all have to ask is, are we going to hold support at 20K? Now, again, to kind of reiterate my thoughts on this, I don't know. If we're just talking about my personal opinion, do I feel like we're going to hold 20K? I think 20,000 is a really strong level of support, and I don't see a reason for us to crash significantly further than 20K. If you just look back historically, and you look back to where Bitcoin's strongest points of resistance have been, support or resistance, you can see here in 2017, this massive multi-month bull run went all the way up to 20K, rejected, didn't come back for another 3 years, and when it did, resistance was right there again at 20,000. So when you look at the 20,000 level, even though we came down super strong, you start to realize, wait, 20,000 is actually a very strong, significant level historically. So are we just going to break that support level? Because of what we just said, my immediate answer would be no. But the only reason why I'm feeling like the answer could possibly be yes is because the news was bad, but you have to factor in what's probably going to happen slightly longer term. We already know that the interest rates were raised 75 points, and we know that there's 4 more meetings that are going to be held this year. We already know that projections and everybody is talking about a recession coming, and when it comes to the immediate market, that's usually not a great thing. Now, you can watch some other financial gurus, and these are solid people that I'm talking about. I'm not saying that sarcastically, but you can watch some other finance-driven, stock, crypto-driven YouTubers that have their opinions on what the market's going to do if we hit a recession, looking back historically. And yeah, the stock market at least, unless we're talking about like the Great Depression or something like that, overall, the worst, terrible things didn't end up happening. But still, I mean, there were some pullbacks, there were some sell-offs, and, it's something that we need to be aware of so that we can be prepared to buy that dip. But knowing that there's going to be 4 more meetings and that things are not going to get better before they get worse, right? It's probably going to get worse before it gets better, because we need to reach a point to where people, the rates go up, to where people are like, all right, this is getting insane. They stop buying. You start seeing the market cool down, the demand cools down, which forces people to lower their prices because they have a lot of supply and not enough demand, and they want to get that product moving, or whether that's actual goods or it could be loans, right? They want to make some money, so they have to be more competitive with themselves. To get to that point, things do kind of need to get worse. So that means maybe to an extent, market prices, whether we're talking about gas, we're talking about food, housing, whatever, those things may continue to get a little bit worse, but it's going to hit a point where the bubble is going to pop and things are then going to start to go downhill pretty steeply. And if the markets are already considering what's going to happen for the rest of the year, we could end up either stagnated, or we could end up selling off. And I don't think either of those are ideal situations, especially because of the current state of cryptocurrency, where we know that there's already a lot of fear going on. There's already been some bad things, bad press recently. Even more bad news today about Elon Musk potentially getting sued over Dogecoin. and just all kinds of projects going in the wrong direction. So, this may not be a particularly long stream, but I wanted to do is just re-express my thoughts on this as we end up at support here. You can see that Bitcoin sits at $20,600, and overall, after this bounce out of here, we've been on a pretty steady, steep trajectory right back to 20K support. So there is some concern to be had here. And so I just kind of want to voice my opinions and address any questions you guys may have. Again, thanks for hanging out, guys. Click that like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel for more videos and live streams like this. But any thoughts that you guys have, any questions, anything like that, I'd be more than happy to hear. Now, while I wait for you guys to say anything that you may feel the need to say, what I want to talk about is what happens, in my opinion, if we do break below 20,000. Do we just crash into oblivion, or is it Bitcoin 3 to 5K again like it was when COVID hit? What do I really think is going to happen here? Well, again, when you look back at what happened on the way up, this is, looking on the way up is the best way to get an idea of what's going to happen on the way down. All right. So when you look on the way down, you can see that we didn't just, go up in a straight line like we did here to 20K. We had consolidation areas where we found support here, support here, support here, resistance pullback, support here, right? Support in this area again, support here. So there's a lot of some less important supports, and I'll make these just a different color. I'll make them white to signify. All right, there are just some less important support levels all in between here that you can map when you look at what happened at around this time frame. And so you just have to imagine that on the way back down, people are going to be seeing these support levels as potential stopping points, especially if they think that Bitcoin at this point is just ridiculously oversold and that this is just an absolute bargain. They're going to try to start timing the bottom at the levels that they can find, mapping out their chart. And so what are those levels? It looks like we've got a support level right at every $1,000-ish here. You can see 20K is where we start. Next one's at right about 19,000. Next one's at about 18,000 flat. Next one's at about 17.5. We've got a little more right around 17, but not a lot, so I'm not even actually going to draw that. Then we've got another one at 16.5 and 16. So there's just so much support on the way down that we may fall further, but we've got to get through like $5,000 worth of supports here to actually significantly crash further. And even if we were to break the 16,000 level, let's just say in a unfortunate world we break 16K, we've got more support right here at 14K. And this is another significant level. So do I think we're going to go to like 10K Bitcoin and beyond? Not necessarily, no. Do I think we need to do something like that? Also, no. So when you put that into perspective and you answer those questions for yourself, do we think it's going to go further than here even? If your answer is no, that means that even if we're not at a bottom right at this very moment, we are within about $5,000 of the Bitcoin bottom. So if you're looking to time the bottom of the market, and by that I don't mean perfectly time it, that's not really possible. But if you're looking to time a really, really solid entry window, this area here where we're within 5K of the potential Bitcoin absolute bottom, in my opinion, not financial advice, of course, but in my opinion, this makes the most sense. This is the time frame where you want to start DCAing. And when you look at some of the other cryptocurrencies, you notice that they're giving really good buying opportunities as well. So if you're into altcoins, that's another thing to consider. Now, as far as like the stock market itself is concerned, you can see that the Nasdaq is having a good old time. Because I do just want to kind of take a look at the actual market here. You can see that, I mean, we're falling pretty fast. When it comes to the stock market here, stock market is not having a good time, quite the bloodbath. If you look just at these indexes in the United States, we have been falling pretty significantly, and I'm just checking these on the fly here. And this is the daily chart, by the way. It's not great. It's definitely not great. So we're definitely on a downtrend here overall, stock market and crypto market. All right, so don't think that it's just cryptocurrency that's failing right now. Everybody's freaking out a little bit. Tesla stock is down significantly. By the way, if you're a Tesla believer, I would strongly recommend that you consider buying a Tesla dip. I'm not saying any of this to toot my own horn, but this general area right here is what I legitimately expected to be the peak after this bull run, just because it seemed like we were getting a little overvalued, especially when you factor in that Tesla now has competition. It just seemed a little too over bullish. But now we're getting back into this value zone. Now, I've always said anything under 600 on Tesla, if you can snag, oh, sorry, I'm not showing my screen. If you can snag anything of Tesla under $600 before this stock split comes, in my opinion, is really, really good news, because Tesla is just one of the, you've got Elon Musk driving the party, running the show. You've already got that. And then you just factor in, Tesla itself, a growth-driven company, always innovating, tends to have a really strong uptrend at almost all times. I mean, this looks like a really good buying opportunity in my opinion. And especially if this is forming a double bottom here and we're going to look to move, whether it does or doesn't, I mean, I don't think we're going under 500 even at the bottom. And look at how much upside there is. You could potentially make double your money if we just get back to highs before the downtrend. So I think if you're looking for a stock play, Tesla actually looks pretty nice. Now, another reason that I say that is because Tesla is having a stock split soon. Stock splits for expensive stocks are absolutely massive because you make the shares, even though, yes, with a stock split, each share holds less weight, less power. Retail investors don't typically care about how much of the how much say that they have in a company. They don't buy stocks just to have like power or to have some sort of authority in the company. That's not why they become a shareholder. They buy it because they think there's a money-making opportunity, because they believe in the company, so they want to buy low, sell high. That's all they think about. So when you give an investor an opportunity to buy into a company like Tesla, that's super growth-driven, that has someone leading it like Elon Musk, that also has a lot of hype behind it, and then you cut the share prices into 10 or 20 of what it currently is priced, now people feel like, man, I can get back in cheap again. I couldn't afford a $700 share or a $1,200 share, but I sure can buy a couple shares at 30 bucks a pop. And so then you end up with, right after the stock split, a massive explosion as, the price starts to rally back towards where it was before the split. So it's a great re-entry opportunity. So when you factor in, it's already cheap and there's a stock split coming soon. And so there's probably going to be another growth boom. This price is looking real nice. So that's just my opinion. Let's get back to Bitcoin and a couple comments from you guys that I missed. Thanks again, Mariano. I appreciate you. I got to bounce. Have a great night. Make some money. I appreciate that, Skydive. Thank you. What's up, Chosen One? Good to see you. Weekly RSI is the lowest it's ever been, ever. Yeah, that's definitely a sign that we're oversold. So that, I mean, if you're looking for, buy signals, guys, when you see the RSI at super extreme lows, and maybe we could just pop open the RSI real fast, just for the sake of demonstration and example here. So if we just zoom out, this is the daily RSI, right? And you can already see that even from the daily perspective, we're under 30. Once we're under 30, typically that means that we are undersold. Or oversold, I'm sorry. So that usually means that we're towards a bottom. Historically, though, on the daily time frame, we have gotten a little lower before we bounced. But this is still a sign that we're potentially in the buy zone. And then from the weekly, yeah, look there. We have not actually seen on the weekly time frame since the time that Bitcoin really got started a move under 30 on the weekly RSI. So that's actually pretty significant, in my opinion. So again, guys, how am I feeling right now? I feel like there's a high chance we are at a bottom, if we're just being honest, because on the 4-hour time frame, we've got, we had a bounce here, and then we have one here. Looks like we're trying to do something like a double bottom and move up. I think there's a high chance that 20K is the bottom. I think if not, we're not going to fall very much further anyway. So at this point, this is when I would start buying the dip. Not that I'm going to all in here, but I would say add, and then have some points here down to like 16K where you plan to add some more, because the absolute bottom's probably 13. So this is a good time to start getting in there just in case it doesn't dump. You're still close to the bottom. Now, something that I find to be extremely interesting though is the altcoins and how they're tending to react to this price movement. Because if you take a look here, is this going to show what I'm trying to show? Well, yeah, let's take a look here. Over the last 24 hours, Bitcoin's only down 7%, but Ethereum actually overreacted and is down 10%. And then you look at something like Cardano's down 9%. Now, Dogecoin actually held a little bit, but Polkadot's down almost 11% here. I've been noticing that after we moved up to 23K, I think a lot of people got excited when they saw that we held 20 and started moving up. But after we rejected 23, and started heading back under 22 down to 20 again. If you look at some of the altcoins, I'm sensing a lot of panic in the market. Because again, as a reminder, usually, look at the movement of Bitcoin, the market leader, and compare that to the altcoins, the retail, primarily retail investors. If you see altcoins being super sporadic and all over the place and overselling, that's usually a sign that the buyers and the retail investors are feeling a bit emotional, right? A little panicked or a little overexcited. And so when you look here, just at the price movement, we were all the way up to 6.5 on Doge, and now we're all the way back down to 5.5, and it looks like we're ready. We are prime and ready to go back to under 4 cents here on Dogecoin. When you look at something like Ethereum, same here. We are right back at the bottom, and this one's actually reacting just as bad as Bitcoin. Ethereum's ready to go right back to $1,000 and ready to go under. It looks prime for the dump. And even something like Cardano, which previously was holding up the best, its pattern isn't quite as bad as Ethereum's, but you can see here that Cardano had bounced all the way back up to 55 cents, but now Cardano's at about 47 cents. So all of these, under 50 Cardano, 5 cents and almost under on Doge, almost under 1,000 on Ethereum. We are ready for the crypto winter to continue if need be. But with Bitcoin sitting how it is, I think there is a chance we bounce, but I really just don't feel super great. If I'm just being honest, I don't like this. I don't like that. I really try to keep emotions out of it though, right? Because even though I don't like it, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to break. I might not feel warm and fuzzy about it, but this is still a support level, and I have to respect that this is a strong support. This could be a double bottom, and anything can happen. But, if you're just asking, for my gut feeling, I'm not feeling warm and fuzzy. I'm just not. I have a feeling we're at the bottom. Then again, we all thought we were at the bottom at 28K. Exactly. Next level I see under this is 19,300. That's where we have a huge bull run on December 14th, 2020. Exactly. That's how I feel. My confidence, and this is why I always try to take my emotion out of everything, and I'm just reasonable with you guys. And sometimes it might seem like, well, maybe I'm playing both sides so that I'm not wrong, but it's not that. It's that I don't personally care. Like, I'm an unbiased investor. I figure out how to make money if it goes either direction. Do I need to short or go long, or do I need to buy the dip or, DCA and just buy more of the dip? There's always a way to figure out how to make money in the market. I don't care which way it goes. So when you consider that perspective, I'm coming from the angle that, here's why I think it could crash, and here's why I think it might not. And then if it does crash, here's where I think it will stop crashing. And there's answers to all of those questions if you don't have a bias. So while I feel like we're at the bottom, we did, just like the Chosen One said, we said that before, and we've said it before. We felt that way before. We're like, there's no reason for Bitcoin to go any further. There's no reason for it to go further. Surely it doesn't crash further than this, right? And then something always happened to where it crashed further. So we could say that again, but now we are really like actually getting towards what should be the bottom. So with that in mind, this is where, even though I've said, not a bad time to buy in the past, this is where it's really getting to a point where it's like, if you're not considering a buy here, do you really have any faith in crypto short term, or, what kind of game are you playing? Because Dogecoin at 5 cents, Ethereum at 1 grand, and ADA at like 40s, like what kind of, do you just not believe in the projects? Like what's keeping you from buying at this point? You should have some position, in my opinion, if you plan to invest in crypto. It only makes sense to me. Toby Entertainment says ETH under 1,000 soon. If Bitcoin crosses this 20K line and goes under, it's ETH under 1,000 immediately. Yes, it's ETH under 1,000. It's Dogecoin back into the 4 cents, heading towards 3 cents, and it's Cardano heading right back towards that 30 cents level, which is just absolute crazy bargains at that point. But still, it's bargains now. So don't forget, we were just at Ethereum, like what, 2.5 to 3K. Not even that long ago. If we just pull the chart back up, because this is where I'll conclude, guys. I just want to keep it in perspective. Just, a week ago, we were at nearly, or 2 weeks ago, Ethereum $2,000. Now we're at Ethereum $1,000. The course of about 14 days. So imagine this is the bottom. Give it what, 7 to 14 days and you've doubled your money? I mean, let's be realistic. Where was the all-time high? 4,800. That wasn't even what people consider to be high. That's 4 to 5x just getting back to where we've been if this is the bottom. And yeah, you might be able to get an Ethereum at 800 or 750. It could happen. But what's the significant difference between 750 and 1,000? It's not as significant as the difference between 1,000 and 2,000. Or 2,000 or 1,000 and 3,000. So at this point, you're really just greeting, in my opinion, if you're not starting to buy something. That being said, the charts are looking a little bearish, all right? So just be careful with your position size. Save some, just in case. Yeah, people were saying Bitcoin at 28 and then bounced to 100K, and we're still at 20, and we're at 20 instead. Yeah, I know. And, I can't act like I wasn't one of the ones that was helping support the idea that Bitcoin could hit 100K last year, because I was. And there was a chance. There were so many people that were into it, so many people into the idea, a lot of people excited. And, it doesn't take a whole lot to get rallies going and get a whole lot of people on board. You just usually need to break above resistance, momentum keep going, and there you go. But at the same time, like I said, I always express both sides in my feelings. And I did say, just because there's these predictions based off of history does not mean that history is going to continue to replay every single time. And I started to get really skeptical about the overhype and bullishness towards the end of last year. And it just goes to show that technical analysis, guys, like what we're looking at right now, as we look at these, as we look at this chart together, technical analysis is not everything. It's just not. Technical analysis is secondary, or even third place, honestly, because what's most important is the fundamentals and then the socials. So the fundamentals being, does this asset really deserve to be the price that it is? And if the answer is yes or no, what's influencing the market that will push the price in either direction? So we look at what's going on in the world today, and you get, the good news and the bad news. How are those things affecting the price and what the value of this should probably be? And then secondly, we get like the social sentiment, the feeling of the people and what they're expressing. If you just check social media, you can get like a good gauge a lot of times of overall how people are feeling. How are they reacting to the news, the things in the world that are going on that are influencing the price, and even, news regarding the asset itself. I'll just say right now in the crypto space, there is not a lot of hype. There's not a lot of people talking about really any project getting super hype about it. The crypto market enthusiasm at this point, in my opinion, is temporarily not dead, because dead is like dead for good. I'd say it's in hibernation. No matter what project we're talking about, you don't really see people out there shilling their project like usual. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of people are a little scared of this time, and it's understandable. But that's just a loss of buying pressure right there potentially. So what do I think about comp? It has half the max supply of Bitcoin, all-time high 900, current price 30. I feel like it could be a huge money-making play. I don't know anything about comp except for what I read when I think signed up for Coinbase or one of those things, and it made me watch a 1-minute video. So I don't remember anything about comp. I will say though, a lot of things right now are at super discounted prices. As long as you trust the project, you think it's a good project, competition in the space does look a little scarce, or if there is strong competition, you think that the project that you're going to invest in has an edge over the others, because that's what's really important. How does it stand out against competitors in the space? So as long as you feel like it has an edge in the space and it's a solid investment, by all means, because that is a great discount. But, you know, at the same time, you just have to make sure it's not like a ridiculous play, or there's not a good reason for it to be that cheap. For example, Luna, as it was crashing on its way down, it came from 130, went all the way down to $2. Me, you know, just being busy and having fun, I was like, oh man, this has got to be near the bottom, right? Because surely it can't go much further. What a crazy discount. And what happened? We know what happened. So, Elbosh says, how about Shiba Inu? I have no interest in Shiba Inu. I'm not going to lie. I believe Shiba Inu, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, and if I offend anyone by saying this, I do apologize. I feel like SHIB is dead. I felt like SHIB was dead since the Robinhood announcement, and I've tried to make that very clear. I've never been a fan of Shiba Inu, all right? And you kind of end up either a fan of Dogecoin or a fan of SHIB, it seems like, for whatever reason. There's like two camps and they're kind of against each other. But I've always been on the Dogecoin side. Now, me being kind of unbiased, I didn't hate the coin. I just didn't particularly like the community and how aggressive they were. But as I went into the actual project, I did recommend buys at certain points. I recommended buys somewhere here. I recommended buys, you know, if we held support. You see, that's why this whole box was sitting here. If we had pullbacks here to look to buy that dip, and because there'd probably be some sort of rally. You can look back in my video history and see the videos that I talked about potentially making 20 to 30x on Shiba Inu if you bought the hype into the Robinhood announcement. All right, but in my opinion, in the same way that Doge hit 70 something cents and never saw it again and probably won't for a long time, that's how I feel about Shiba Inu. This was SHIB's peak. I don't think it's going back up here anytime soon. That being said, it doesn't need to 10x in order for people to make money. But I think, you know, the way I always look at it, what reasons does a project have to significantly increase in value? When I ask myself, or when you ask yourself that question about Shiba Inu, what is your answer? For me, I don't have many answers left. I had a couple answers before. I had the Robinhood announcement. I had Shiba Swap. I had the other things that SHIB has, you know, been working on recently. But almost all of those improvements are out. And what utility does, or what value does the Shiba Inu project really bring to the majority of people in the world, in the world that are investing in crypto? And I just don't really see the angle. So for that reason, I'm out. No, I'm just playing. For that reason, I'm not a big SHIB fan. I just don't see the value. It's, in my opinion, even though it has utility and function, it's still a meme play, like a risky meme play, because they started with this token and they started to try to build utility off of it so that it would have value. It's kind of the wrong order, in my opinion. Like, they didn't start a project that had value and then throw a token in there to represent it. They started a meme token and then said, all right, how can we make this pump? Well, let's start creating things that add value to this. But the project still, at this point, I don't see the purpose. Like, I think Shiba Swap is a decent decentralized exchange. I understand there's some sort of NFT marketplace either there or coming. I've heard about the layer 2 blockchain solution, which is going to make things easier and cheaper to use and faster. But like, what value is that really providing over something else? I don't see anything there. And I think NFTs are overall ridiculous at this point. And I think a lot of people are starting to realize that as well, that, you know, just like normal art, there needs to be some form of value there, some reason to buy it, not just someone creating an image in 2 seconds, you know, like having my 5-year-old, if I had one, draw some scribble scratch and then say, but it's an NFT, which means it's going to cost you 50 ETH. Like, I don't get it. Anyway. Not a huge fan of SHIB either, but I will say that's one crypto that I made 1000% gains because I bought early. No, yeah, absolutely. SHIB, like I said, I don't like the project. I don't see the value long term. I do think it has been and still could be a money-making play, but it comes and goes. You know what I mean? Like, when there's news about SHIB where something great's going to happen, I'll turn my eyes to it and I might buy some. But it's not one of those things I long-term hold because I just don't feel like the project overall is valuable. Well, that's just my probably unpopular take. It's also like part of the reason why I'm not holding Dogecoin, very much Dogecoin at this moment. I mean, I feel like a lot of things, like, it just has to be the right moment for that thing. I am not someone that just likes to buy and hold. I get bored doing that. And yeah, I could probably have a lot more money playing it that way, but I don't particularly enjoy it, and I trade to enjoy. Like, I make money at my real job, my main job. This is more just a hobby and to help other people make a whole lot of money. But for me, I get more enjoyment from just focusing on making my money from my main jobs, and then this is like a side thing for helping you guys out. But when it comes to something like Dogecoin, even I like to divert my funds and move them to where I think the next project really is that's going to move next. And Doge has been quiet as well, in the same way that, well, I won't relate it to SHIB, but SHIB has been quiet in that there's like not much going on recently. Doge has been quiet in that there's not much going on recently. So I'm looking at things that have the next hype event coming. That's also a solid project. I'm looking at Ethereum and ETH2 coming up and improvements being made there. And I'm looking at Cardano looking like it's starting to get some of its hype generated back. And then other than that, I'm looking at newer projects. I'm trying to find what the new best thing is going to be. I'm looking at small market cap things like the competition for Netflix. It's called RTGN. There's one thing out there where it's like going to be a decentralized, almost like a Netflix program where you can watch movies, you earn some tokens, and for doing that, the creators earn a certain amount of money. Just those kind of cool new concepts. But I do love my Dogecoin though. It's still my favorite coin overall. I just I'm a little disappointed that the community's gone dark. But it'll pop back up, and when it does, I will of course be here to buy some more. That was just luck and timing, though. I hope nobody goes and buys SHIB thinking they'll get 1,000% gains. Probably won't happen. Yeah, you're probably right. You are probably right. But that's an amazing play. I'm glad you were able to catch that. That's 1,000% huge. Have you bought any Amazon since they did the 20-to-1 split? I have not, actually. I have not. Let's take a look at Amazon. I haven't even looked at their stock, to be honest. And then we'll probably wrap up after this, guys. Amazon. It's unfortunate, but this will bump back up. Amazon shares are only they're $100 each. I think they would have been a little better off doing a more aggressive split. You really want to entice people, and I'm talking retail traders that don't have a whole lot of money. You really want to entice those kind of people to buy. In my opinion, when it's still over $100 per share, you're not really enticing people, because how much money does the average person have just sitting in their account that's like disposable income that they can just throw into something, because why not? It's probably never more than a couple $100 for the most part if we're just talking about the average lower income individual. So what are they going to buy? Like 2 shares, maybe 3 shares, and call it a day for a couple months? They're not going to feel like they're going to make a whole lot of money off this. So I don't know. I don't know about that. I would have liked to see a more aggressive split. But I think that at this current price with Tesla, if you look at something like that and you imagine a 20 stock split, which is coming for them, I mean, that's going to be a good value. Yeah, it should be like $50 a share. That's what you want to see. People it was sitting at $1,200, they couldn't buy it. They're like, man, if only. And then you get another chance at $50 per share. That's where you just, you blow the retail traders' minds. They just can't resist. So, but no, I had not bought any Amazon. And it's just kind of funny because what you really see is, you buy the rumor, you sell the news. So right here, a lot of buying into the rumor here, and then that news sell-off just right back down. Plus other things too, but just you notice the peak is right at the event where the split happened, and then everyone sold off. And but it'll probably bounce back up soon. All right, guys, I'll keep it under 45 minutes this time. Thank you all for hanging out. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you're locked in for the next upload, whether that's a video or live stream. I do have a Discord group that you can join if you want. Links in the description. It's free to hang out and read the chat, unless you want to type and ask questions all the time, you can become a member of the channel to do that. And of course, click the like button so that this gets shared with other people. So thanks for all your support, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good evening.